Okay, in this next video I'd like to show you how to set up a simple letter in Microsoft Word, which will also involve a table. So letters and tables, one of the problems we'll encounter is with address blocks. Address blocks can do some strange things and we need to see why and how we can fix that. So I've just got the letterhead open that I created earlier on, which has Waxing Lyrical Surf Shop up in the header, and down the bottom, if I scroll down to the bottom of the page, it's got this footer down there as well, and my cursor is waiting for me to start typing my letter. Right at the top I'm going to insert the date. Now I could just type the date in, or I could go up to the insert tab, which is what I'll do. To insert, come right over here to the text area over there and click on date and time. So I've got a number of different date and time formats that I could choose from. I might go with that one, and I could just click OK, but just talking about this update automatically, if I turn that on, that means that that date, 15th of February, will change every day to the actual current date if you want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. I want it to stay on the 15th, so I'll turn off update automatically and just click OK. So that's inserted the date at the top of the letter. Notice I do have my show hide button on. I can see the little paragraph mark there. I press enter a couple of times to start a few blank lines. I can see where they are. If I didn't have the show hide button on, I wouldn't see them. I wouldn't know exactly how far down I was. And to make sure that's on, so go to your home tab, and in the paragraph group, there it is there. That's your show hide button. If I turn it off, you can see the effect of that. I can't see the paragraph marks. I have really no idea of what's going on. So I'll turn the show hide button back on again and continue working. So now I want to type in the address block. So it's Mr. Peter Whelan, and I press enter. 14 Dorking Road, enter. He's in East Sussex, nice part of the world. Space BN3 4QT, enter. United Kingdom. Okay, enter, enter, and Dear Peter. Simple enough, but we've got a problem. The problem is the spacing between these four lines in the address block. Every time you press enter in Word, you always get an extra bit of spacing between each paragraph, and these are four paragraphs as far as Word's concerned. There's a paragraph mark at the end. How to fix that? Well, if you highlight that, you look up on the Home tab, and over here in the Styles area, notice that it's set to normal. That's the normal style. The normal style in Word is what everything is done in unless you format it differently. And the normal style always has an extra bit of spacing after each paragraph. Well, I can change that to remove the spacing by using the no spacing style, which is just next to it. So if I click that, that's solved the problem. I've got four paragraphs, but with no extra spacing between them. Okay, normal, no spacing, quickest way to do that. Another way of doing it, and I'll just do a little example down here. If I press enter and I type in Joe Blogs, but instead of pressing enter, I press shift enter. Hold down shift while you press enter, and that puts a little soft return, what they call a soft return. It's a new line, not a new paragraph, so there's no extra spacing. And here's address, Logs Way. Remember to press shift enter, and he's in Joville. Right, so pressing shift enter instead of enter puts a soft return in, and that creates one continuous paragraph. That's actually one paragraph, whereas this one up here is four paragraphs. Shift enter, a soft return. Okay, but I'll just get rid of that. So that's an alternative way of doing the same thing. Okay, I'll put a comma after Peter. I'll use the old comma there, which is a bit old-fashioned, but we'll do it anyway. I'll press enter, and then I'll type in the first paragraph of the letter. I've got my caps lock on. Luckily Word will automatically correct that. Thank you, and thank you Word for your inquiry regarding our range of surfboards and bodyboards full stop, one space after a full stop, always one space after a full stop. And you can see the space marker left by the show hide button, the little dot there. We are pleased to quote as follows, and a colon, and enter. Now, the next thing we have to do here is to insert a table. Your table of surfboard models and their description and their price in US dollars. It's a 3-column table with 5 rows. So I just go up to insert, at the point where my cursor is there, up to insert table, and I just roll my mouse over the number of rows and the number of columns I want. So 3 columns wide and 5 columns tall. There we go, there's our table. Because I've got the show hide button on, I can see these little starburst symbols in each cell of the table. They're the row indicators. They are only there because the show hide button is on. What I might do, I'll break all my rules and I'll turn the show hide button off temporarily just to make it a bit clearer here. So I'll go back up to the Home tab and turn the show hide button off in the paragraph group, and that just tidies it up a bit. When I'm working with tables, I do sometimes turn the show hide button off because I find those little cell markers a bit confusing, a bit messy. So you have my full permission to turn the show hide button off when you're in a table. So I'm just going to type in the heading for the first column, which is model. To get to the next column, I could click there with the mouse, or I could just press the tab key, and tab will jump over to the next column. So tab is a really quick way of moving around. Description, tab over there, and the price in US dollars. I'll press tab again, that jumps to the next row, and I'll just type in these model numbers here. Press tab, and the description, surfing screamer. Sounds like Mick has got some pretty cool surfboards. I'll put kids in there. And price in US dollars, $456. Dollar sign, 456, and some decimal places. Okay, so I've typed up all the other data into that table, and if I want to get below the table now to continue working, I'm going to turn my show hide button back on. So back up to Home, turn the show hide button back on so I can see where I want to click, right on that paragraph mark. I'm going to press enter again there to leave a bit of a blank row or line, and continue writing or typing up the rest of the document. Okay, so I've finished typing up the letter. I've just gone back and fixed up a few mistakes I made, which is typical. Little spell check there for Malubra. This word doesn't recognize the spelling. If I right click it, it thinks it should be Marubra, but apparently it is Malubra. Anyway, that's looking pretty good. Okay, notice I left a few spare lines down there. That's standard practice between yours sincerely and the name, so that the person has space to write their signature. So usually at least two or three blank paragraphs there. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see the whole page. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. It's fitting well, and it's all looking good. So all we have to do now is think about making the table a little bit more attractive. Quickest and easiest way to do that, just click in it anywhere inside the table, because that brings up your table tools up the top on the ribbon. There's a design tab and a layout tab. On the layout tab, there are all sorts of options for deleting rows and columns or deleting the whole table. Well, I did that. I'll press Control Z, which is the undo key. I can also insert above, below, left, right. So if you need to insert extra rows above or below, or extra columns, use those buttons on the Layout tab. But what I really want to do, on the Design tab, I want to apply a table style to it. So we've got these built-in table styles, and as I hover over them, you can see the table changing, different fonts and different shading, different borders. There's more. If I come down here, there's lots of colourful ones. Unfortunately, the menu is covering over the table, so it's a bit hard to see, but I'm going to choose that one there with the dark blue header row and the banded shading. There we go. That's looking pretty professional. It just took one click to do that. And the job is basically done. So I can save this and print it out or email it to whoever, and the job is done. So getting rid of the extra spacing between the lines of the address block by using the no spacing style, or by using soft returns by pressing Shift Enter instead of Enter, and inserting a table and then using the built-in design styles for the table, which automatically preview as you hover over them. Okay, that's us done. Thanks for listening.